Blog Talk Radio.
Following ingredients include a look behind the scenes. Cook uncovered until hot. Add grooves to taste.
I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl.
The accident was over a year ago. A second woman has been elected president. The 12th planet has been named in the solar system. The last wild polar bear has died. I slept through it all. I was here for my waking. He called it a beginning. He said it was good. I think he may have thought that anything I did was good.
Welcome to Transition Radio, live from Wilton Manors, Florida, with your host, Mark Angelo Cummings.
And your hostess, Jessica Lynn Cummings.
Show for trans folks, by trans folks, here to let your voice be heard. Well, hello, and welcome to Transition Radio. Tonight we have Jack Ory. He's a gifted member of the transgender community who took the long way to fulfilling his early promise. But before we bring him on, we have a special announcement.
I'm back. Hey, everybody.
The show is never the same without her. And it's just amazing to have her sitting here next to me and being part of my life again.
Today.
But we have to do a show, and we want to thank our sponsor,
TheBreastFormStore.com. They have everything you can possibly need for your transgender or cross-dressing needs. Visit their website at www.thebreastformstore.com and tell them Transition Radio sent you.
After his childhood, Jack became interested in writing, leading him to a master's degree in creative prose in his early 20s. He worked menial jobs while trying to figure himself out. It wasn't until he began exploring his male gender identity in his early 30s that he began embracing his passion for helping others as well as his writing abilities today.
Coach Jack is a self-esteem coach who helps members of the transgender community embrace their greatness and exceed their own expectations for career, relationships, and life in general. He is the author of Rewrite Your Life Script and Jumpstart Your Freelance Writing Career, as well as the leader of the Embrace Your Gifts program.
And now, welcome to our show, Jack Ory.
Hi, Mark. I'm great, and I'm glad to be here.
Thank you for being on our show. So looking forward to having you, and we're looking forward to also having you on the TV show. That's going to be amazing. So how's everything with you, Jack?
Everything's going really well with me. I'm just very excited to be here and to be taking this step tonight. I've been moving forward with my coaching, and I just think that this is going to reach a lot of people who can really benefit, and I'm just excited to see what happens.
Definitely. Well, I'm amazed by the similarities we transgender individuals have. I, too, became interested in writing. In fact, my first song was written when I was 10 years old. How early on did you get the inspiration to put words on paper, and what was your very first meaningful message to the world?
I've been writing for just about as long as I can remember. I remember being 5 or 6, and I would come home after school, and I would take out a composition notebook and wrote a quote-unquote novel. I don't really remember exactly what I wrote about. I know my first book was something about a parrot, and then when I was 7 or 8, my dad gave me an old typewriter, and I used to write little stories, and I wrote some mystery stories. I also wrote some nonfiction pieces. I remember writing something about the dinosaurs, whatever I was interested in, and I just took it from there. I probably began writing seriously when I was in junior high. My first real novel was called From Childhood's Hour, and it was about a boy who had a brother who was part of the popular crowd, and this boy was not popular and he was considered nerdy, and it was about how his brother was trying to figure out how to still have a relationship with him, but still have the approval of his friends, and there was a lot of stuff about bullying and stuff like that. And I think that's probably my first full-length novel, and the first message that I wrote was about it being okay to be who you are and being okay to be smart, and obviously that basic message has not changed.
Awesome. Well, take us back to when you first learned that you were not comfortable in the body you were given, and how did you deal with that?
Well, when I was very little, I felt like a boy, and I didn't really question that. I remember in kindergarten I was friends with the other boys, and everything was fine. Around second grade, around the time that boys stopped wanting to be friends with girls, and so some of my friends saw me as a girl, and they didn't want to be friends with me anymore, and they started making fun of me, and that was really confusing for me. So at that point, I just ignored it. I felt as a child more or less like you have a girl's body. You can't possibly be a boy. What's wrong with you? And it took me until probably I was 28 or 29 to really come to terms with that. I graduated high school in 1996, and in 1998, when I was away at college, I started experimenting with using a male name, like on message boards and internet stuff. And I did that several times, but I always backed away from it because I didn't want to be dishonest with people, and I thought people didn't know who I really was because they thought I was whoever it was that, whatever name I chose. And it wasn't until later that I realized that I actually was being honest by doing that. And then as I approached 30, I started exploring it more seriously. I had a friend at the time who was transgender, and in helping her and talking to her about her experiences gave me permission to explore my own experiences, and things started to come together.
And how has your family been with all this?
It took them about a year, I'd say. They had their own transition, One of the things that I learned was that parents have their own learning curve and their own transition, because by the time we come out to them, it's all news to us. It's all new to them. And so, they went through stages. At first, they completely ignored it, and then they tried to convince me that this wasn't really who I was, and I had just gotten this idea from my friends and that kind of thing. And then when I stood my ground and I didn't give in to that, and I insisted that I was who I was, they gradually came around. And now at this point, they're as supportive as they can be. I don't think they fully understand, and I don't know that they ever will fully understand, but they understand that they see that I'm happier now. They see that since I've been on hormones that I'm a lot happier, and being seen as a male, I'm a lot happier. My mom has said that it was hard for her to accept and deal with, and for a long time she had a hard time with them. Sometimes she still gets the pronouns mixed up, but they are really trying, and they are definitely supportive. My sister and my brother are very supportive. My sister and her family are very supportive. And, I go and I see the kids, and nobody has any problems with anything like that. So I'm pretty happy with where things are at right now.
That's very important to have support, at least of a few of the people that are important in your life.
Well, and you said it perfectly, because you said that, we've known this all our lives, but our parents may have saw little signs, but they didn't know until we sprung it on them. So something we've been trying to decide our whole life is new to them, and that was a great way of putting it.
So who was your very first love, and how did your human mind cope with how your spirit self expressed this love and dance?
Well, That's really a difficult question because I also identify as demisexual, so I don't experience love. I experience love, but I don't experience attraction unless I'm really in love with the person. And when I was trying to be a girl, I convinced myself a lot that I was in love with guys that I wasn't in love with at all. And I chose people who would make me feel invisible and would make me feel like I was worthless because of what I was feeling inside. So I don't know that that counts, although I did have a long-term relationship with a guy who was a drug addict, and looking back on it, I think there were two reasons for that, and one was that he was a very feminine kind of guy, and I think he had some confusion over his gender identity and sexual orientation, and that was part of why he used. And he also, he sometimes treated me the way I wanted to be treated as a guy, and so I felt visible in some weird way. And I did, like in high school, I did have a crush on a guy, and I wasn't sure if he liked me or not, and there was a lot of back and forth. And I think for a long time I did choose people who either were unavailable or who just were not good matches. And it's interesting because after I came out as transgender, I realized that I was more attracted to women. And looking back, all the people that I dated were all feminine type of guys, so it's like, and now I'm in my first relationship with a woman, and I think it's going to be permanent, and I'm very much in love with her. And at that point, it was interesting because when I met her, I wasn't sure she knew I was transgender. When we started talking intimately, I brought something up, and it was kind of like thinking, I don't know if she knows or not. And it turned out she didn't know, but when I told her, she was totally fine with it, and she didn't care because she said, this is the body you have, and you're the person I fell in love with. So I would say she's my first real love and my only real love, and it was hard for me to deal with the fact that I still have some female body parts, but at the same time, I was just so excited when I met her and so glad to have met someone that I could be authentic with that I was willing to take that risk, and it paid off.
That's awesome. Yeah, we definitely know the whole thing about true love. Definitely.
Yeah.
So apparently you have learned to master the rules of this game we call life. Are doing a very good job writing it. What led you to share your secrets by helping others ride the wave of life without worrying about falls?
I had a little trouble hearing what your entire question was. Were you asking what some of my secrets are that I wanted to share?
Yeah, what led you to share your secrets by helping others ride the wave of life without worrying about the falls?
Well, when I was going through the whole transition, my life coach was really, really helpful to me. She helped me understand who I was, and she was the one who encouraged me to start transitioning because I was so unhappy and I was constantly complaining about being misgendered. And I remember at a certain point she said, you come here every week saying this. If you're not considering transition, I want to know why. And so once I took that step, and it was so freeing, I felt I wanted to help others because it took me over 30 years to get to where I was. And, I felt like I can't go back and change that past. I can only be grateful for the present. But maybe my experiences can help some other people have an easier time of it. And that really helped me feel like it meant something. Like there was a reason I didn't transition until my 30s. And so I initially, when I was reaching out to people in the transgender community, I could see how much pain there is in our community, and I knew the statistics about suicide and homelessness and all those things, and I thought, I'm in a position where I can make a difference because I'm trans and I'm happy and I have my family support, and those are blessings. And I want other people to know that no matter who they are, they can live an authentic life and they can have happiness too, and it just makes me feel so worthwhile and so purposeful to know that I can make a difference for other people in the community.
Exactly. And that's why I asked the question about how, without the fear of falling, because I think that's what keeps and prevents a lot of us from transition is the fear of falling. And I think once we get past that fear of that falling or that downfall, that it helps us move forward into full speed ahead type situation. I mean, would you agree with that?
Yes, definitely, because I've seen other trans people that I'm friends with say, I saw someone recently actually say, I finally decided to take that step and live full-time and as the gender I am, and I never thought I'd be saying this, but I'm so free. And I see that all the time, and I think what holds us back is really us. We are so used to the idea that something is wrong with us, and there is nothing wrong with you. Being trans is just being trans. It's just who you are. And even whether or not our families are accepting or rejecting, I think we get this idea within us that they're going to reject it, and that's where it comes from. I mean, I hid my gender identity all through childhood because I thought my family would not accept it and nobody would accept it, and I didn't even know there was any such thing as transgender. I just thought something was wrong with me because I thought I was the quote-unquote wrong gender. And so I think we internalize those fears, and whether our families ultimately will support us or not, in our heads it's this catastrophic thing where we think, I'm going to come out, I'm going to say I'm trans, and that means that I'm going to lose everything and everybody, and I'm going to be alone, and I don't know how I'm going to live. And then once we take that step, a lot of the time we find that our fears are not as bad as we thought. That doesn't mean that there aren't families that are rejecting. That doesn't mean that there aren't situations where it's not safe to come out. But I think in the majority of situations, it's a lot safer than we think, and a lot freer than we think. And I honestly have met more trans people who have had a smooth experience than those who have had problems. And so I think that, unfortunately, part of the problem is our media, that our media makes a big deal out of every time a trans person is killed or kicked out of their family or commits suicide. And if you don't know any better and you look at those stories, you think that's every trans person. And I actually think that there is a lot more acceptance than we think. And I think that if we accept ourselves, that just radiates outward, and it helps us to have an easier time no matter what happens.
Absolutely. Well, explain to our listeners, what exactly do you do as Jack, the coach?
Well, I have, as a coach, I have a couple of things that I do. One of the things I do is one-on-one sessions where we get together, and it's all about you. It's about talking about what you want to talk about, and I'm there to provide a listening ear and to give you some guidance based on my experiences. If you go to my website, ftmcoachjack.com, under programs, you'll see something called the Full Life Transition. And that's specifically for people in the trans community, because one of the things that I believe is that transition is not about just our gender. It's about transitioning from an unhappy life to a happy life where we can be authentic and true to ourselves and have what we want. And what I do is I help you get what you want. You choose the goals, and I listen to what it is that you want and where it is that you are at, and we'll do exercises on the spot to help you get past resistance or blocks against what you want, or we'll talk about your fears, and I'll give you some techniques to overcome them. And then at the end of the session, I'll give you some homework assignments so that you can move more towards your goal on your own. And it's a process where you come for as long as you want to come. It's not a thing where I'm committing you to, you have to be here for a year or you have to be here for 6 months or anything. It's, as long as you feel like you are benefiting and you feel like there's areas in your life where you would like a little bit of guidance and a little bit of encouragement, then you can do that. And I tailor the program to each individual person because we all have different needs. Now, the other thing that I do besides the one-on-one coaching is I have a teleseminar program. Every Monday, I have a radio show called Rewrite Your Life, where I talk about overcoming fear and dealing with change and other topics that might be of interest to people, not just people in the trans community, but anyone who feels like their life is not going the way they want it to go. But trans people are most definitely welcome there. And then on Thursday, I have a teleclass online where I go into more depth on the same topic that I went into on Monday. Like this past Monday, I did a radio show on overcoming regret and how we can't live in the past, we can only move forward, and giving people some techniques to help them to move forward and to let go of the past and just start creating the life they want now, even if they feel like they wasted time in the past. Thursday night, for some reason I keep thinking today's Wednesday, Thursday night, I'm going to have a teleclass called Rise Above Regret, where I'm going to go into more depth and provide more techniques that people can use in order to let go of regret and start living in the present and creating the life that they want. So that's another option. And I also want to add that with all the one-on-one sessions, I offer a free consultation ahead of time. If you contact me and you're interested in seeing what I can do to help you with your life transition, then the first thing we do is we have what's called a discovery session that's completely free, and it's just a half hour where we talk about what your goals are, what you hope to get out of coaching, and see if what I do will work for you. Now, in some cases, if I'm not the right coach for you, I will point you to other resources, because my whole thing is, as a coach, I want to help you live the happiest and best life you can, and if that means working with me, that's great. If that means referring you to someone else, if that means that what you're really looking for is more of a therapy situation, I might refer you to a therapist. If I think that you might get more benefit from another coach, I'll refer you there. If I think all you really need is to meet some other trans people, I might refer you to some support groups, that kind of thing. I'm not just in it for me. I really, really want to emphasize that I'm in here for you to help you in any way I can to give you the best experience as you transition.
Excellent. Well, tell us a little bit about your books and where our listeners can get a hold of them.
Sure. I actually have 2 ebooks out right now. We mentioned Rewrite Your Life Script, which I encourage everybody who's interested in personal transformation to check out, and that's on Amazon. And Rewrite Your Life Script is a workbook where I talk about changing your actions in order to change your beliefs about yourself. I very strongly believe that by taking new actions to be who we want to be, we can increase our confidence level, and we can also face fears and overcome them. And I talk about how to do that, and I have plenty of targeted exercises. I have action commitment plan. I have exercises for overcoming fear, exercises for figuring out what your goals are, exercises for examining your life. All that stuff is in there, so it's a great starting place if you are interested in personal growth and transformation and transition. I also, if you are a writer and you're looking to make some extra money with writing, I have a book called Jumpstart Your Freelance Writing Career, which is also available on Amazon Kindle. That one's just a pure ebook. Rewrite Your Life Script is available in paperback and on Kindle via Amazon. And you can just, if you search my name, Jack Ori, which is O-R-I, on Amazon, you'll find both my books. And Jumpstart Your Freelance Writing Career is about how to organize yourself and get ready and make some money with writing. I've written for sites like textbroker.com and scripted.com, where basically I'm a ghostwriter and I write web copy for other people. And in this book, I'm sharing with you how to do that. And for the trans community especially, I think that this might be of interest because with the difficulty that you may have in getting a job in some places where there's a lot of discrimination, this is a way for you to get out of that system because you can make your own money. And online, nobody cares what gender your birth certificate says. and you can use the name that you've chosen even if you have not legally changed your name yet. So it's a good way to make some money as the person that you are. In that book, I talk all about how to do that.
Yeah, definitely. And, God knows we all need help in one way or another, and that's why healers, coaches, trainers, therapists are all here for, to help people become in touch with their inner healing abilities. Now, go ahead and give us your website one more time, Jack, so people can get a hold of you.
Sure. My website is http://ftmcoachjack.com. And you'll see all my information is there. There's a product section there where you can find my books too, and there are some recordings to some of my teleclasses there. You'll get information about my radio show there and about my one-on-one coaching.
We actually look forward to having you on the TV show. We're going to talk a little bit about autism because going through your videos and stuff like that, I see that you're part of the Asperger's spectrum, which I am as well, and I think a lot of trans individuals are. So definitely want to focus on that on the TV show, as well as continue to share some of your expertise with our viewers. So looking forward to having you on the show, and that's the end of September. Let me look at the calendar here to get an exact date. You are on with us on the 26th of September, live at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Not Straight TV. So definitely looking forward to it.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to that as well, and I definitely want to talk about autism. I agree it's definitely something a lot of trans people deal with. I have a blog on my that I wrote a while ago when I went to an Asperger's support group, and the person told me that I couldn't know my gender identity because I'm transgender and I have Asperger's. And I get a lot of comments on that from other people who are transgender who have Asperger's who think that that's just crazy. So I'm really looking forward to talking about autism and spreading some hope.
And hopefully we'll be able to get some callers on the TV show and have people share some of their stuff. So, because I think it's a very important topic to talk about, and it's kind of like kept under the covers type of thing. And I think it'll be a great healing show for many. So thank you so much, Jack.
Thank you, Jack. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to having you.
And thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to being on the TV show at the end of September.
Thank you. We're looking forward to that too.
Absolutely.
In the trans news, the Huffington Post, University of Arizona helps transgender studies take a bold leap forward by Mitch Kelway. The University of Arizona, already home to one of the top graduate programs in women's and gender studies, has made a strong statement about the field of transgender studies. It's here to stay.
On August 30th, 2013, the institution quietly announced its intention to hire 4 tenure-track professors specifically dedicated to transgender studies within the next 2 years. In the same hiring call, the institution stated its intention to establish a center for critical studies of the body and a graduate degree program in transgender studies. The university's LGBT Center already houses the editorial office of the groundbreaking transgender studies forthcoming in 2014.
The modest reach of this news believes its significant promise, expanded understandings of transgender embodiment, and live experiences outside the limiting medical legal complex.
Speaking via email with one of the discipline's main architects, transgender scholar Susan Stryker of the University of Arizona, to discuss the future of the field and its possible effects outside academia.
In her assessment of cultural importance of transgender studies, she pinpointed one of its game-changing purposes: to change conditions of knowledge production of transgender phenomena and to increase the scope of what counts as expert knowledge. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you so much, Jack. We look forward to having you on our show on the 29th. Next Thursday, which is this Thursday coming up, the 12th of September, we've got an amazing show with Madam Amrita. She is a sex educator, and she's an ally to the LGBT community and part of the LGBT, and we'll let her tell you what part of the alphabet she's from.
Did you say sexual?
Sexual, that's right.
Okay, that's going to be a fun show.
Teaching people how to enjoy sex because it's such a taboo. And she not only is not just as a sexual thing, but she'll talk about a lot of issues with people who have disabilities and things like that to help them spice up their life. So I know we don't probably have department.
Nope.
All right, guys, thank you so much, and join us Thursday night live at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and
We love you, but remember to always love yourselves too.
Good night, folks.
Good night.